Hello, today we're going to review advanced searches and customized views in Dynamics CRM. What are advanced searches? Advanced searches and customized views are a powerful way for generating customized datasets of entities in CRM. Customized views enables users to construct and set up a default view with the data displayed based on the needs of that particular user. Advanced searches allow users to query the CRM and generate a structured dataset that can be explored or exported into Excel. First of all, we will explain default views and how users can pick any of the system views and set it as the default view. For instance, right now, if we go to Workplace and reach, for instance, the entity contacts, we will see that we have a view by default. This is the default view that the system has selected for us. How we can change it? If we see the arrow next to the name of the selected view, we can click on it and see all the available views that the system has ready for us. As you can see, the second one is selected, all contracts. Now we can go down to my contracts, my connections, active contracts, and if we select, for instance, the first one, active contracts, bingo, we have this new view and we are ready to select it as the default view by pinning it. Now you can see that the icon has changed and now it's pinned, meaning that if we move from contracts to another entity, let's say for instance interested, and then we go back to the same entity, we can see that now the pinned view is the one we have chosen, active contracts instead of all contracts. If we go back, we want to go back and select the previous view as the default view, all we have to do is repeat the same process. We select all contracts and then we can pin it. It's just as easy as that. But that's system views. So those are the views that the system has determined for us. There are more views. We can edit those system views and create views of our own in case we need to check specific criteria, specific details on a regular basis. Because for instance, the system view may not have the filters we want, like by region, for instance, by subject, by regarding, by date, whatever. In that case, what can we do? How do we create a custom view? First of all, we have to go to the entity where we want to create the custom view. Okay, we can go to people, for instance. In people, as in the system view we had before, we have this menu in here where we can see all the different system views that are available for us. And at the very bottom, if we scroll down, we can see my views, which are some views that I have created for myself. How did I do it? First of all, you need to start somewhere. In this case, we are going to grab one of the system views. For instance, let me check active contacts, the one where we are now. And by doing so, as you can see, this is the view with all the active contacts that we have on the CRM. The problem is that this contact list may be too extensive and we don't need the whole list. We just need a certain part of it. How can we filter the information displayed and save the results? First of all, we need to select or filter the data to get only the data that we need. We can do so by clicking on this filter icon on the very right side of the table, and if we do so, we can see that something has changed in every single column At the top of the column, if you see next to the column name, now there's an arrow pointing down. If we go to one of the columns and click on that arrow, we can see if we scroll over it that it says no filter applied. If we open it, we can see that it has a very similar behavior as the one we would expect in Excel. We can sort all the data by that column. We can decide the order by which the data is sorted. We can filter on whether that column contains data or doesn't contain data. We can apply custom filters, or we can use the already created filter for that specific column. Like in this case, again, very similar to Excel. We have these buttons where we can select all, deselect all, and select, for instance, a couple of records by clicking on OK. Now the list is filtered by those records. We can do the very same step in the remaining columns. For instance, if we want only registers with data, records with data, we will select contains data in mobile phone. What do we have now? Right now we are having all the leads, principal, professor, and parents with some data in the mobile phone field, meaning that all these contacts are of the type selected and have populated the field mobile phone. Okay, as you can see, we have all these options on top of it where we can export what we have into Excel. Okay, so now imagine this is the view that we want to save as a new view. So how do we create a personal view now that we have all the data that we want in here? First of all, we have to go to the view we're currently in and display the menu where we can select or pick among all the available views. Scroll all the way to the bottom and hit Save Filters as a new view. By clicking there, a pop-up window will appear, and all we have to do is rename the view add a description if you want, and hit save. Once we've done that, we can see that we have the view renamed with the name we have selected, and if we hit on the button where we can see all the views available for that entity, we can see that now under My Views we have this new view available. Imagine that every time we enter into this entity, people for instance, we want to view this list. We want to view the data as we have saved in here. How can we do that? How can we make it as a default view? By repeating the same process, by repeating what we did before, by pinning it. We hit pin, and right now, if we go to Workplace, Activities for instance, another entity, and now we want to go back to the entity where we were before, people. As you can see, the default view is the view that we have just stored. By that way, we can speed up the process for looking up information by having the right data that we need to look at for every single view that we will use in the CRM.